All right, I think we're good.
Mine's still not working, but it'll come on. 7:01, we'll call the meeting to order. We can do a roll call when you're ready.
Barkle,
Here.
Los,
Here.
Kettering,
Here.
Hummel,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Welsh,
Here.
Clark.
Here. Alright. Everybody had a chance to go over the minutes from the previous meeting. Unless there's any changes, I need a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Loest.
Second, Hummel.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. Is there anything to be added to the agenda or changed? Hearing none, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
Kettering moves.
Loest second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. We can start off with conflict of interest declarations. Sherry, you want to start?
Loest. None.
Kettering, none.
Welsh, none. Barkle, none.
Hummel, none.
Nelson, none.
Clark, none.
All right, our first agenda item is scheduled for 7:05, so we have a few minutes.
Do a couple plats.
Yep, if you are ready for those.
You got the Sinclair plat of Nicholas Farm in the northeast quarter of Section 19, Township 95 North, Range 56 west of the 5th Principal Meridian. This plat vacates previously platted Tract 1 and Tract 2A and Tract 2 in the northeast quarter of Section 19, Township 95 North, Range 56 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota, filed on October 4th, 1983, and recorded in book S11, page 54. Basically all they did is you can see the aerial here. You got the plat in your packet. They added the trees on the west, and then they followed the fence line around to the east there, that little chunk. So basically, this and
Those are both getting added together.
that added into this plat, yes. So those two pieces are getting added into the plat. So it's closer to the 20 acres.
What does it bring it up to for a total acreage?
15 something, I think it was.
Oh yeah, 15.1.
Yeah.
Getting closer to conforming. These were old plats that just were grandfathered in.
Yeah, they're just basically cleaning it up.
Yep. Unless there's any other questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve the plat, Welsh. Second, Hummel.
We can do a vote when you're ready, Gary, sorry.
You want to do one more? It looks like it's 7:05.
Yep, can we do a vote on that plat?
Yes. Barkle,
Yes.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay. 7:06, we can move on. First agenda item is the Swan Lake Wind LLC conditional use permit continued from August 13th, 2024 meeting. And as was stated in the last meeting, we already took public comment on that, so we won't be opening it up. So start with board discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order. For the public, if you haven't been following this, we had a wind task force meeting, and our first public meeting was on January 25th, 2024. We received briefings from industry insiders, and to our knowledge, and to their knowledge, there was no active consideration of any wind farm in northern Yankton County. The first we found out about it was we found there was a Zoom meeting by Swan Lake on March 13th. The Wind Task Force completed its work and forwarded its product to this commission. We had a first and second reading. And on July 9th, we forwarded our work product to the Yankton County Commission. Later that week, we learned that Swan Lake Wind LLC had filed a conditional use permit request on July 8th. When I checked, it turned out that Swan Lake Wind LLC did not have a certificate of authority to conduct business when they filed the CUP on July 8th. However, they did receive a certificate of authority to conduct business in South Dakota on August 1st. Prior to this meeting, I checked the South Dakota Secretary of State's website, and it turns out that on August 19th, the state of South Dakota, Office of the Secretary of State, issued a certificate of cancellation for Swan Lake Wind LLC's authority to conduct business in South Dakota. In addition, a thorough search indicates that Next Era Energy Resources LLC, the parent company of Swan Lake LLC, is also not authorized to conduct business in South Dakota, and that Next Era Energy Incorporated, a Fortune 200 company traded on the New York Stock Exchange, the parent company of both, is not authorized to conduct business in South Dakota. So, to recap, Swan Lake Wind LLC was not authorized to conduct business in South Dakota, and on July 8th, when they filed their conditional use permit, and they are not authorized to conduct business in South Dakota as we speak now. So, Mr. Chairman, I move that consideration of the Swan Lake Wind LLC be denied for lack of standing before this commission.
Okay, I have a motion on the table. Before any second or anything like that, is there any other board discussion on the matter?
I'd like to hear from our attorney.
Well, Don, it came to my attention before, a little bit before we had the meeting tonight. I did talk to the Attorney General's office, and if the requirement was that the entity was supposed to be authorized and operational at the time of the hearing, and if it looks like it's not, and I don't know if we should give them the opportunity to explain, because it does show it was canceled on August 19th. And so there really isn't a valid entity before the board today for the board to make a determination on how to proceed, so. But I don't understand maybe they would have the opportunity to explain on the reasons why there was that consolidation or what the problem was. And then I was looking over their application, and it does show it's Swan Lake Wind LLC. And I did review the filings with the state, and it does show it was canceled on August 19th.
Is anybody from the company I wish to address the cancellation? Yeah, Alan Anderson. So the answer is I don't have the information as to why it'd be canceled. What I would say is, so it seems like there may be some kind of clerical issue with that. That's unusual. I'm not sure why it'd be. I do think as it relates to the application, I don't think it requires, in fact, I don't think it should have a cancellation and a termination of the process. I think what it would need is, again, and it's not uncommon to have things such as either, a term of an LLC where it's, it hasn't filed the annual report and those kind of things, and those have never been deemed, a material item. They do have to be fixed, and I think that would be the case here. When you talk about the registration, in this case, again, I think that's something that needs to be corrected, and that should certainly be a condition, as part of this. But I don't think that is something that's not generally seen in kind of the corporate world as a material to the continuation on this. I understand the motivation for it, but I think the important part is for it as a condition to continue to have that correction be fixed so that it would have its registration in South Dakota take place. But again, very common for those kind of clerical issues to come up, and I do think it can proceed and it could be part of the continued CUP application that we're working on today. I think that'd be common. You run into this, no doubt, in many circumstances where there's one, annual report has to be filed, and that doesn't get filed on the date, and it can be some period of time, and it has to be rectified, and the state will then allow for that and give that grace period. I think that's similar here would be appropriate.
Yeah, and I think the only difference that what we have here is the application requires, at the time of application, at the filing and the signing of it, it does state in there that you're duly organized and authorized to operate in the state of South Dakota. So I think that's the difference. And when I was talking to the Attorney General's office, they alluded to the same thing you just said,
Right.
that you can make it a condition of it, but they said the difference would be, does your application require at the time the application is being submitted that you're authorized? And that in my opinion, would be the difference.
Yeah, and what I would say there is, so it is organized. So this is a valid company. It was organized in Delaware.
And authorized is what it said too.
Correct. Now, when it's required to be authorized, of course, you can do a lot of activity prior to registering a corporation or an LLC in a state. And I think up to the point that we kind of get to this later point, I think it still can continue to be a condition as part of that, even under that circumstance. Because again, these are not generally seen, this is not a material item as opposed to something else. And here it can be rectified easily. And the law generally wants to allow those kind of things that are not to become trapdoor gotchas. They're meant to be things that if they can be rectified, we should generally allow for that to take place.
Well, I guess then an option would be it could be brought and moved to the next month for the time frame.
Yeah, I think to the extent that it's between those items, I think that certainly then cures the issue. If it needs to be where at the point of receiving any kind of CUP or other permit, that it would be, then at that point it would be registered in the state of South Dakota.
But I think for tonight, though, we don't have an authorized company operating.
Yeah.
Gary, do we get notification from the state on the cancellation?
No, we do not.
And obviously, that's something we can, as part of that, if we move this to the next meeting, it can be, I think so. I haven't had a chance. I literally was just trying to pull it up. So I don't think you're probably wrong. Why that took place, that's bizarre.
So I'm not sure. So that's the type of thing, and this has to be a clerical issue that can be easily rectified. Okay, thank you.
I have one question. Did the state notify you of the cancellation?
Again, I'm not sure, so I couldn't say. I don't have that information. I can get that to see what take place. What often, this could have been truly just a clerical error on the side of the company where a filing was made in the wrong place, that kind of thing. So I actually don't know. And so if something, why it took place or how it could, I just don't have that information. We could certainly get that. I think that would be appropriate if it gets moved to the next meeting, that can be supplied. So again, if it's not for a reason that would, if it's for some, reason that would be of import to the planning commission, we can certainly provide that either way.
On the, when they withdrew the application, what was the reason for the withdrawal?
And Don, it doesn't say, and I think, I don't know if it says on there, but it does say it's canceled and it's signed. There's a signature on there with a name.
The signature block is Jason B. Pear, P-E-A-R.
Yes, the answer, of course, I don't know. But this seems like, in order for it to be canceled, this nature, the company probably made a clerical error and did something to do it. Probably picked, again, a different entity and filed it. And for this one, very unfortunate error, obviously. But it's that type of thing that's a clerical error that can be fixed. That's not meant to have the draconian result that would take place of canceling an application, particularly when there's the law favors natural and appropriate solutions. And this one be, if that's necessary under the application, to bump it to the next one, and we can, one, get it rectified. If we can't, then obviously that'll be known to the planning commission at that time.
So to recap, Swan Lake Wind LLC was not authorized to conduct business in South Dakota when it applied for this CUP. It is not now authorized to conduct business in South Dakota. And it's worth remembering that in the Swan Lake Wind LLC CUP, on page 3, under item 2, applicants, it says Swan Lake, this is quote, Swan Lake Wind LLC, parens, duly authorized to do business in South Dakota, care of Next Era Energy Resources LLC, end quote. Neither of those entities are authorized to do business in South Dakota. Now, we know what the word authorized means. It's a power or right designated or given. Its opposite is unauthorized, lacking permission, unsanctioned, wrongful.
Chairman Merkel?
Yes.
I think what my recommendation would be is that we would continue it to the next meeting, and then that would give us an opportunity to make a determination on the validity of the application, or whether it's something where we continue it. I would appreciate that opportunity to do it that direction, instead of just kicking the application out today, because we just learned about this here right prior to this hearing. I did tell you, I talked to the Attorney General's office, what I did right before 5 o'clock when I did learn of this. But if you don't mind, let's continue it to the next meeting, and then we can make the determination.
All right.
On this.
In that case, I withdraw my earlier motion, and I make the following motion. I move that consideration of the Swan Lake Wind LLC CUP be continued to at least the next regularly scheduled meeting of this commission, and that no other application for a CUP be accepted from Swan Lake Wind LLC until this application is finalized by this commission.
We don't need to add it to the agenda unless they're authorized to do business in South Dakota.
That's correct.
So what's our policy, Gary? I mean, 10 days before the meeting, if they're not authorized to do business in the state of South Dakota, it gets kicked to, so next month's October, so get kicked to November, or what's fair and reasonable?
Yeah, I believe it's fair to just continue to next month, and if it ain't resolved, yeah, then, well, in the next, couple weeks here.
I think we need to put a date to it, because we have 60 people who brought themselves into town or whatever for this, and if we did this again in September, or next month's October, I guess, I mean, that's not fair and reasonable to them, so.
I guess my feeling on the issue is that they didn't have a valid certificate of authority at the time they filed the original application. They don't have one now. It was signed by a Next Era, the cancellation form is signed by a Next Era attorney. So the company itself rescinded its authority to do business in South Dakota, and its requirement that they be licensed to do business in South Dakota. I don't think they have standing to even make an application in that fact. And I would say that they can reapply once they have standing in South Dakota, but I don't see how we can continue it or consider an application by someone that hasn't had authority to do so.
Yeah, and I probably comfort level would feel better if we just moved it and give us the opportunity to review law and make sure everything's comfortable.
I thought a little bit about this the other day, pulling wind out. Me and my buddies are sitting around talking. I have a welder. I can build a trailer, right? I'm starting Sam's trailer sales. Well, shoot, I better make sure the county will let me build trailers out of my property that I currently own, right? So I, real quick, go get that done. Oh shit, I got 20 orders. Excuse my French, I guess. I don't know if the paper writes this stuff down, but oh darn, oh pickle, the county, I got 25 orders for trailers. This is no longer a sole proprietorship. I better register with the state. I got my CUP in trying to say, hey, I need to build some trailers at my house. I register with the state. The state traditionally does not turn down business applications. You look at it, it's a checklist, you give them some money, you check a couple boxes. That's a very low risk right there. I mean, this is me starting to build trailers in my garage. That's kind of what they did here. We got to get this in. We got this idea. We got this project, right? We file for business. Yeah, there's some timing here, but I'm with Mr. Attorney Clemish, I guess we'll call him. The timing won't be material. So I feel like we do need to kick it out. I feel like we do not need to put it on the agenda next month and have all the supporters and the people who are against it come to town if they are not authorized at that time. So that's my motion is.
You want to second Mike's motion?
Did you
or
put a date on yours?
Or did you?
You want to add a date to yours?
Go ahead, make the motion and
I'll copy Mike's motion, but I'm adding that they need to be authorized to do business 10 days prior to the meeting. No?
Actually, we'd probably need to
2 weeks?
know by the Monday, the 23rd at the latest.
Okay, so they need to be authorized by Monday, September 23rd, and notify Gary. That's my motion. Sticking to it.
Discussion?
Yep, go ahead.
I'm incredibly disappointed with the fact that it could be a clerical error. We've had dozens of people in meetings three times a month for 6 months. It's a huge amount of time that they've given up, and I don't know, I'm just extremely disappointed. Hope that if we would proceed on, that there would be no other glitches like this. It's hard to believe a clerical error could stop a, what is it, $300 million project.
Any more board discussion?
I've got a point there, if you can hear me.
Yep, go ahead.
So, as we talked last month, we talked about the details, drawings, and dimensions. In my opinion, the current submittal, I call it a submittal, is incomplete. And they had a chance to address that last month. And so as of today, I have not received anything that would outline the most important part of this, which is, in my opinion, again, the setbacks, the 320-foot setback, which is a radius circle that lies in 1/4, which is 160 acres, and that circle would touch all 4 sides of that quarter section. So, in my opinion, the submittal is incomplete, and it's lacking the basic information for someone to approve.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
I do want to say something here. I'm frustrated. I have a professional engineering license. If I stamp drawings in South Dakota, I would be fined because I'm not licensed in South Dakota. I'm licensed in Kansas. So if I stamp drawings here and I submit them and someone catches me, those drawings are no longer valid because I did it when I wasn't licensed. And Kansas would find out, and Kansas would suspend my license because I was doing professional engineering work without a valid license in a different state. We have rules to keep us all on the same playing field. And if we don't play by those rules, why have the rules? And I have worked for big companies. I worked for the largest privately held company in the United States, and I worked for a company that started at 50 people and ended at 800 because we were building ethanol plants. And my job was to make sure permitting was done for those plants. So I know exactly the shoes you're sitting in, and I know the boxes you have to check. And we made sure our crap was done. And if it wasn't done right, we went back and did it right. And we paid the fines, whatever was required in those states. And they were all across the United States. So I'm really, really struggling with this project being applied for well before their timeline said they were going to do it, before they were licensed to do business in the state, because we had to get that in the day before the Planning Commission voted on changes to the ordinance, which were started in December the year before. So everybody knew what we were doing, and we talked at great length about this. And so it just seems so rushed, and then all of a sudden to have it pulled, it's frustrating. I can't fathom it as someone who had to be in those shoes and to rise to the level required for a project of that size. So that's my venting sitting here today, because I would be strung up and fines and license pulled and all the hard work I put in all these years gone. And to have just to say, well, somebody messed up. Well, yeah, but we have rules. And when you mess up and you get a speeding ticket, you pay the ticket. So there you go.
Any more board discussion?
I just have one comment to make in the fact that I agree with Sherry. I just can't believe this, what Mike shared with us, rescinding their certificate. I'm blown away. You dropped a bomb last month, you dropped another one tonight for us. What gets me is the fact that this company wants to partner, or whatever you want to call it, a huge project. but yet is blaming a clerical error, something very small. I mean, if you can't be trusted, I mean, I told my students this, if you can't be trusted with the small things, how can I trust you with the big things? That's what concerns me quite a bit, is the fact that we sat here, found out that you are not approved to do business, applied for your CUP, and now with this rescinding saying it's a clerical error, and then there's like the CUP, the application, there's things that are difficult to read, difficult to see in it. It's just like it's rushed. And, as a teacher, when I have a student who does poor work, I hand it back and say, here, this is F work. Here it is back. Redo it. I want it to be A work. I will not look at it until it is A work. And I think that's the situation here. The last time you were saying you have thousands or 10,000 lawyers, and this is the best you can do with that many lawyers. And it's a clerical error. I'm frustrated, and I'm frustrated for the people, whether they're for wind or against wind. I'm frustrated for them because they take time out to be here, and it's a clerical error. Just, like I said, it's a $1 billion corporation, and this is the best that you can do. I'm frustrated. I'm like Sherry. I'm just flabbergasted.
I'm with you and Sherry, but we really don't know it's just a clerical error. It could be something else.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what they're selling it right now, is a clerical error.
I think we continue, so that way if it's on the state of South Dakota or whatever, then that way we can have a month to figure it out. My motion still stands.
So we have two alternatives. We can either deny it tonight or we can continue it until a later time. Which of those two alternatives are the best?
I would continue. And I do like the 10-day, if you don't have your poop in a pile 10 days before, then.
September 23rd.
Oh, I'm sorry,
So everyone
thank
knows.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam. September 23rd, then that's fine. But it would be heard at our October 8th at the earliest meeting. So I'm okay with that, and I would second Mr. Hummel's motion to do that.
Mike already did.
Oh, did he?
You said.
Oh, well, I suppose I can't third it.
I appreciate the support.
So,
There you go.
so Sam, you've got a motion on the table to continue until October 8th, and that they must have their,
Must notify us that they are authorized to do business in the state of South Dakota by September 23rd.
Would it be appropriate to add that we want to know the reason that this was missed?
Do you think that's appropriate?
I don't,
Rob?
Well, I'm sure
It's
it's,
not gonna
What's
change
done
it
is done.
either
No, what's
way.
done is done.
What is
No.
done is done, I guess, and
yeah, so I'll second Sam's motion.
All right, any other board discussion, or are we ready for a vote?
the one thing I would say is, Dan's point that it's incomplete is still true.
Yep.
The circles, the setback circles, there's a ton missing from those maps. So,
Well, yes,
we
I
do
would
hear-
include- I'm sorry, I would include, if we're gonna, make this decision, that we would include the requirement to provide an appropriate submittal. It's not gonna take that long to put in that dimensional information. I can do it myself in about 10 minutes on my own computer with my own program, but it's not my submittal. So it's very easily done, and if there's any questions, you certainly reach out to me and I can walk you through it.
So just to clarify, are you all saying the spreadsheet they provided
No.
didn't give you enough information?
no, in the application, they have, and it's the one I took a picture of with my phone,
They
so
said
I
two
could see it.
yeah. I printed that one out.
It is the CUP site plan, and there's a bunch of red circles on there that are missing. It's the one, I think it's got the birds that get a half-mile setback, and then the eagles got the 2-mile setback, I think, on there, but I don't think there was any eagles that I could find. But there's a bunch of 1/4-mile setback circles missing from all of the residents in the area.
So the bigger map didn't show them either.
This one is missing, and I can tell you which section numbers are missing them, because I looked at every one of
Okay.
them.
Well, that'd probably be good to answer that email for them stating that we got. They'd probably appreciate that, I'm guessing.
Well, let me just suggest that if Swan Lake Wind LLC decides to reapproach this commission, that you look at your entire CUP application and make certain that everything is right.
Do we want a whole new book? That's what I want. I want one that is complete. I want one that has the correct dates. I want ones that have the correct maps in it. I want it perfect. I don't want to have to be coming to the meeting next month and be given all this other stuff. You know, oh, you can add this, or you can put this as a condition. I want an application that has exactly what they're applying for and everything is correct. You belong to I mean, come on. You got the resources, get it done. I want a perfect application.
Okay, with that, we can vote on Sam's motion to continue with the September 23rd deadline for getting their business license cleared up
And
Bark.
everything else.
and all
And a
that.
perfect application.
Okay,
Thank you.
Barkle,
yes.
Los,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yeah.
All right, motion carried. All right, our next agenda item is the DGOG Yankton LLC rezone. Applicant is requesting to rezone a parcel in a rural transitional district to lakeside commercial per Article 18, Section 1809, and Article 20, Section 2003. Said property is legally described as the north 2 acres of the west 11 rods, excluding lot H3 of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter, Section 15, Township 93 North, Range 56 West of the 5th PM, Yankton County, South Dakota, 911 address.
Mr. Chair, let's call attention to the noise in the room and get it quieted down before we go ahead.
Yep, if everybody could be respectful of the sound. Again, the 911 address, the applicant is 3111 West 8th Street, Yankton.
So Dollar General, yeah, is just looking to get into compliance, so that's why they're requesting the lakeside commercial, which makes sense in this case, so that's all we're doing here.
So Gary, we had a question. The 911 address is like a residence there. That's not the actual property that we're talking about.
The one right next to the west of you?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the residence is the property or the
They're actually
empty
getting
lot?
rid of the residence.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's going away.
So is it just that small parcel?
Yeah.
And not the one next to it that's getting rezoned?
No, it's just that parcel. And you see, there's a drawing in there that shows where the building's going and the parking spaces and
Right.
things. Doesn't take much for those Dollar Generals to,
I guess I'm not seeing it in the
I
application.
don't remember seeing that.
Yeah.
I don't
I
see
thought
any.
it
I
was a
don't
big
remember
lot
seeing it.
next to it.
Yeah, I just saw the,
I
yeah.
thought it was the big lot next to it, but yeah, I don't see any drawings in the
Isn't it
application.
isn't it the lot in front of LaCroix
That's what I thought it was, but
and the doggy daycare?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at the application right now. It's not in the packet.
Rusty here who's Hi Rusty, this is Gary, Yankton County. I'll put you on speaker here. question rose is if the property was the 2-acre parcel right off the highway there. And I mentioned that there was a drawing in here that showed or I thought there was a drawing in here. Maybe that was in your building application. Can you address the parcel number?
I'm sorry, are you talking to me?
Yes.
What did you want me to say? I'm sorry, did you?
So the E911 address is 311 West 8th Street,
Okay,
and you have a legal description as the north 2 acres of the west 11 rods, excluding lot H-3 of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter, section 15, township 93 north, range 56 west. Is that all correct?
that is correct, right? Yeah, that is correct.
I looked on Beacon, and I think that matches where that house is.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
That's where the house is.
So
Yep.
I can go get the drawing
Drawing.
from the building permit if you like. It'll just
Yeah,
take a
I think
minute.
we need that.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you need me to do, I'll just answer questions, or I can give you an overview of the project.
If you wanna take
Whatever
this,
you'd like-
I'll be right
whatever you'd
back.
like to hear.
Gary's gonna run upstairs and get the drawing that you submitted with your building permit application.
Okay.
We haven't seen any of that.
Just as a I don't know, a little maybe filler, one thing that we are proposing, because that's an existing parcel, 0915, 100, 124, but the front 80 feet, which is, I guess, the east side of Kalia, opposite Deborah, we are proposing that we dedicate the front 80 feet of that parcel to the city as right-of-way. There's an existing easement across that property anyway, and it's got utilities and other things. It's got some other easements, but it's got an egress easement across it. So that was, whenever you see the site plan, you will probably notice that there's a note on there that says 80-foot right-of-way dedication. That's essentially for because there's an easement already there, and it's for the extension of Deborah Drive to the east. So that's just maybe it's irrelevant to what we're talking about tonight, but it is something that's probably needs to be explained. Maybe without a drawing, that doesn't make any sense to anybody. So.
Yeah, I think right now we got a lot of furrowed eyebrows. Are you replatting this at all?
The plan is just to rezone this parcel and then just to dedicate, since it's an existing parcel, the plan was just to rezone this parcel and then dedicate that front 80 feet. So other than whatever it takes to dedicate that right of way, I mean, if that takes a minor sub or a plat of survey or whatever the procedure needs to be, obviously we'll do that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions right now?
I guess I'm a little bit confused. I guess I was assuming that it was the parcel to the west there that's larger for building on, because I'm confused as if it's just this 2-acre parcel, it's only about 175 feet wide. And is that wide enough to meet the setbacks with any kind of building project, or is this going to be replatted in with other properties to the west there, or what is that?
No, this is just a standalone project. It's just a single lot. It's just that as part of the development of this 2-acre piece, that's what I mentioned about the right-of-way dedication along the frontage. That's what we would like to do. It's not we have to do that. It just seemed to make sense as we were putting together. We had plenty of room on the lot for the Dollar General and all the things south of that north 80 feet. And since Deborah Boulevard was to the west, and since there was already the easement there, it just seemed like that would be a good step to make. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Okay.
So is this being paired then with a conditional use permit coming
If it's
soon, or-
rezoned for lakeside commercial, you don't need one. It would be a permitted.
Okay. Yep.
So Gary just returned with your drawings, so you might have to give us a little bit to digest the plan.
Sure. Whenever you do see the plan, what you'll see is, if you look at on the north side of the lot up near, it's actually to the left of on the left side of the page, because north is to the left since the lot is rectangular. You'll see a note on the left side, actually two notes that say right-of-way dedication, 8-foot right-of-way dedication. That's what I've been talking about. It's right across from Deborah there.
Yep.
But other than that 80 feet, it's the existing lot that we're talking about. Other than that 80 feet, except we don't need that north 80 feet. So that was the whole purpose of the discussion from before.
This is from the building
Okay.
permit, future building permit application, so it's a rezone, that's why it wasn't included in that
Okay.
packet.
Yep. So that right of way on the north side that you're talking about, would that actually be developed then into a right of way, or is it just left open but designated as right of way? Is that part, well, I guess that'd be for a plat later, but,
To legally make it a designated thing, they would have to replat it.
Well,
But
it's
you wouldn't
already
have
an
to.
existing lot, so,
well, as far as what he's
but
talking
yeah,
about.
they'll,
right away,
but
yeah.
for them, yeah,
If
they
you-
want
If
to
they wanted
plat
to,
it,
they
yeah.
could replat it and make that official, they wouldn't have to.
Correct,
So all the area to the west is lakeside commercial,
Right.
is that right? And then
Yep.
essentially all to the
Yep.
east is,
still
Our
RT,
entrance. Yep.
so this is a little
all
chunk.
are till at least past Chris's place, so.
Yep.
Gary, does the Highway 52 corridor overlay
A
Article 27?
pre-existing lot and
It's a
hasn't been
pre-existing
platted.
lot and plat, so it
Yeah,
doesn't
if the plat
apply.
was, there isn't a plat, so
Okay.
pre-existing legal description.
Right, right.
But you can see it all fits.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess going through the checklist,
We do need to do public comment on this too.
yep,
Do you want to do that before?
yeah, we could do that. I'll open up to public comment on this rezone application. Anybody wish to speak on this rezone? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Back to board discussion. So, circumstances for why it should be rezoned. Basically, you can't do anything but what it's currently being used for unless it's rezoned. Um, It's not going to confer any special privileges or anything that I can see. It was noticed, public hearing, and I guess, like Gary said, I think it's worth noting again that the building permit application information showing the drawings and everything weren't included with the rezone application because they're not required. Let's see. Change in zone, make possible for the reasonable use of land, I believe so. Dollar General's probably not gonna operate outside of a house. And since pretty much most of the land around there is already lakeside commercial, and that highway corridor is commercial business use, it would be in harmony with the area.
And they've got access to 52. It's not new.
It's not a new access, and I guess based on their drawings here, it doesn't even look like they're accessing 52 directly.
No,
They're
it's
going off
not.
a side street,
Yep.
which is preferable.
Because that's a shared driveway with everybody else. If
Yep.
they were going
Yep, there's
straight
a
onto
Deborah
52.
Boulevard.
that helps.
Curves clear around. There's lots of lots down there.
Yeah, that helps.
Unless there's anything anybody would add, I don't think there's really anything else as far as signage or anything to do with a rezone.
Nope.
I would entertain a motion.
Move approval, Loest.
Second, Nelson.
We can vote when you're ready.
Barkle,
I'm going to abstain just because I am an adjacent property.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
All right, motion carried.
Anything else you need for Russ, from us?
I don't think so.
All right, thanks a lot, Russ.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate the time.
All right, we can go back to the plats. I believe we're on the Jacobson plat. This will be plat of lots 1 and 2 of Hillsland Tract 2 in the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter and the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 18, Township 93 North, Range 56 West of the 5th PM, Yankton County, South Dakota.
So basically what's going on here is they're dividing this lot into some smaller lots. So you can see this little piece here is going to Lily's to the east. And then they're taking this lot, and then he has a relative that's taking the bottom lot.
All the lots are conforming in the area.
Yes.
And they all have access to roads.
Yep, they actually even have access off the highway. There's an existing driveway here you can see.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But yeah, either 434th or Highway 52 or Lily's on Maycliff.
Unless there's any questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. We can do a roll call when you're ready, Gary.
Barkle,
Yes.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
If you can hear me, yes.
Yep.
We can hear you.
All right, motion carried. Next is the Brewer plat of Tract A of Brewer's Addition in the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 27, and Tract B of Brewer's Addition in the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 27, and also in the northeast quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 34, Township 95 North, Range 56 West of the 5th PM, Yankton County, South Dakota. This plat vacates previous platted lots 11, 12, and 13 filed on June 24th, 1983, and recorded in Book S11, page 45.
Basically, all they're doing on this one is cleaning up the road down here on the south end that they all access up to the Beaver Creek Road,
So what was it?
Beaver Beach Road.
What was it before? Each lot owned part of that road, and then
Yeah,
they
there
were
was
just an
some
easement
going
across?
through, yeah, there was some going through parcels.
All the lots are
Let
still
me show
conforming this
you.
way.
So you can see how it was currently, it goes right through the bottom of it. There's this little triangle piece that it goes through, and then it was going through this parcel, then the rest of them would get access.
Yeah.
So they're just cleaning that up.
Okay, so we're just replatting the large lot there.
Correct.
That's the right way. Okay, I thought we were changing the little ones.
Move approval. Loest.
Second, Hummel.
Vote when you're ready.
Barkle,
Yes.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay, next plat is the Goshen Nation LLC, plat of lots B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B7, B8, B9, B10, B11, and B12 of lot 21. Whitetail Run in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 16, township 93 north, range 56 west of the 5th PM in Yankton County, South Dakota, containing 0.32 acres more or less.
So as you can see, basically here, all they're doing is adding the second phase of those office condo type spaces.
So this basically sets it up so that it acts like a condominium, right, Gary? Where each
Yeah, so
one of
basically
those
people
be-
can rent, and they're open to different sizes and things, but they
Right.
have different uses
And
and
different owners,
Yeah.
they can actually
zero
own it.
setbacks. Yeah,
Will they eventually have
Zero.
to go like a condo so that you own the inside of your walls and?
they already
They
have
already-
that agreement with them, that
Okay.
they, when they go in.
Well, I will move approval.
Second, Welsh.
Vote when you're ready.
Barkle,
Yes.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Nelson,
yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay, next plat is the Drotzman plat of Tract 1, Deer Boulevard Estates in the southeast quarter of Section 9, Township 93 North, Range 56 west of the 5th PM, Yankton County, South Dakota.
This is the last one of tonight. Basically, as you can see, they had this half street when you approved the bottom, the south piece of this whole thing. Now they're platting the north side of that roadway, and then that'll eventually be 4 more lots going up to the parcel to the north.
And they all have roadway access?
Yeah.
You can make
They're all
cul-de-sacs
off
off
Deer
there.
Boulevard, and then there's streets, there'll be more streets going east-west.
But they're not ready to do the 4 lots right now.
No, they're still they're actually still working on the road, but eventually it'll become 4 more lots, just like below it, to match up.
I guess remind me again why we plat it as Tract 1 and then split it into 4 lots later instead of just having the 4 lots right away.
Basically, yeah, that's just, they weren't ready to do it basically yet, so I think they want some more to sell on the south piece before they divide it up more. And then they'll have a little more flexibility if somebody wants a bigger lot or something too down the line.
Okay.
I move approval.
Second, Welsh.
We can vote when you're ready.
Barkle,
Yes.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Nelson,
yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the agenda. Last item is public comment. I'll open up for public comment. Anybody wish to speak? Keep it brief, and we'll go from there.
Louis Johnson, Ballin. I'm having a hard time, as far as the wind towers go, you want to put them up, fine, you don't want to, fine. I like electricity. No matter how it's generated next to somebody's house, and they don't like it. The cell phone towers out by the lake, my God, that was gonna be the end of the world. When YC switched and became a prison, that was gonna devastate the whole town. When they put, BY put the new substation in west of town, nobody wanted that. They were gonna ruin it. They wouldn't have to look at it. My God, it'd be terrible. And I thought, I wonder what would happen when they built the Meridian Bridge. How many people said, geez, the birds will fly into it. Or there could get to be a boat stuck under it. Why do we have to be against everything? What happens if Don Kettering wants to put a wind charger up by his house, and a big one? He can't do it. So who's reimbursing him for his personal property rights? Why am I paying taxes? Just to have a group of people that don't live close to me tell me what I can and can't do on my own property. That's what I have an issue with. And some of you know that I went through the hog house wars, and I was in court 17 months, and after 17 months in court, it got thrown out because they missed the deadline. And it cost me a ton of money. My son had his half built, and somebody, oh, gotta pull his permit, he's not done. John Gunderson, oh, you haven't done enough work on yours, we're pulling your permits. He had pigs in the building, but yet they accused him of not having enough work done on it. I see this whole thing kind of the same way. Oh, geez, somebody wants to do it, so let's hurry up and make the setback so big that nobody can. And I personally do not like having government take my private property rights away from me and not handing me a check. I mean, it would be just the same, okay, you've got this flat piece of ground that can grow 20 ton of hay, and you can sell it to one of the new dairies because you're close enough to it, right out of the field. You mow it on Monday or swath it, and you chop it on Thursday, and it's gone, and they bring you manure back. And you pay for a farm in 2 years. And just to have the government come in, no, you have to put that in natural grass and wait for the buffalo to come back. And you can sell 10% of the buffalo after 15 years. Why does government figure it has the right to tell me what to do on my place? That's my complaint. Thank you.
Thanks, Louis. Anybody else wish to speak?
My name is Lori Slutton. My husband and I are fifth-generation farmers from Yankton County. We're here today to ask you to deny the Swan Lake LLC CUP when it finally gets here. My father was born in a little brick house on Broadway here in Yankton. If my family still owned that property today, this board would not issue me a CUP to build a hog confinement there, because Broadway is zoned for commercial and residential, not ag. Just as hog barns do not belong in town, industrial wind developments do not belong on our farm ground that's zoned agriculture, nor do they belong on land near people's homes. Industrial risk should be limited to areas zoned for such issues. People and animals are not allowed to live in industrial zones. Industrial wind does not belong in farm country. For those of us who were raised in South Dakota, we took civics classes in 8th grade. The most important fact we learned about property rights was this: my rights end where your rights begin. In farm country, we have a saying that we actually live by: good fences make good neighbors. Our fences keep our livestock on our property so they do not damage the neighbor's crops. But fences do not keep out toxic debris or leaks. Fences do not keep out industrial sounds and vibrations. Fences do not stop fires and flying debris. Fences do not stop EMFs or flashing red lights. Fences do not stop industrial wind development from changing the temperatures and moisture level, thus damaging the crops for many square miles. In reference to industrial wind, property rights must be treated just like we treat waterway rights management in our county. I am not allowed to make a change to a waterway that will flood or stop the flow of water to my neighbors who live 5 miles away. Just like water flow, the dangers of turbines do not stop at the fence lines. Participating residents have a right to endanger their own health by building turbines on their own land, but they do not have the right to risk the health of their neighbor's family, livestock, or crops. The people of this county have shown up by the hundreds to let you know we do not want industrial wind in Yankton County. And this is the first time I've seen more than 5 people here saying they wanted it, other than the wind company. We've supplied the zoning board and commissioners with about 285 signatures asking for a ban on industrial wind projects in Yankton County. At your last meeting, we provided 60 signatures from residents of Mayfield and Turkey Valley Townships asking for you to deny the CUP. Today I bring you another 25 signatures. That's a very large percentage of the people that live up north. If Swan Lake is issued a CUP under the old outdated ordinance, they propose to build 2 turbines just over our pasture fence and a major power line running just north of our property line, less than 200 feet from our home. We're concerned about the health effects this will have on us and our livestock. My husband has a traumatic brain injury. Blinking lights, repetitive sounds, and vibrations are difficult for brain-injured people to deal with. We chose to live on our farm to be away from the city and industrial sounds and pollution. Please deny the Swan Lake LLC CUP when it finally gets here. At the time, the Swan Lake application, the company was not legally owned to do business in South Dakota, allowed to do business. Secondly, NextEra and the newly formed Swan Lake LLC were aware that the county was close to passing the updated ordinance, but showed a lack of concern for the county and the people trying to apply under the old ordinance. Most importantly, only about 10 people will benefit financially, 10 people who live in our townships, and another 10 outside of our township. But the neighbors will be put at risk. The county will likely sustain financial loss that will far outweigh the projected benefits. Disabled people and people with health issues have contacted sample offices for help, and I have a letter from them for each of you. Please protect the people who live in this county and deny this CUP. So I have a letter from sample offices for each of you and the additional petition signed. And thank you guys for all this hard work that you've done. I have had to show up at a lot of meetings, but you show up for a lot more and do all that fiddly work on projects.
Matt Conway, I just want to thank you all for the work you've done on this. And as far as building what you want on whatever your own property, and if you want to build something within the rules and you have your own money, you know, and go ahead. Then, like Mr. Hummel had a little plot while I was sitting here, you know, I drive truck, and every 2 years I get a letter in the mail that says you got to get your health card. And if you don't go get your health card, then they take your license away. It goes back to a regular license, I call it. And you have to go through all kinds of rigmarole to get it back, including testing. Like, you don't just go in and say, I'm sorry, I missed my letter. It's a huge deal. So I think you guys did right tonight, actually maybe a little lenient, because even if I go look at my trailer and truck tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and before I go over to Pizza Ranch and deliver, and a pin falls out and the DOT stops me, I can't say, well, they were all there when I checked it. They shut you down on that stuff. So you guys have a lot of hard job, really appreciate it, and won't keep you any longer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Public comment?
Hi, I'm Tina Lee. When you were talking about information that was missing from their books, one of the key things that came out was about eagles. And this morning, going to an appointment, I saw an eagle with my son, and it's flying around there, and there are multiple eagles within the Mayfield community, and I don't know how they have to disprove that there's eagles, if they do drones or what. You can't see the nests right now because of the leaf coverage and so forth, but if Eagles have a 2-mile setback. That would be huge for this wind turbine to have to fight. And I appreciate all your hard work, and I know that when people talk about setbacks, you're not just trying to get rid of it. You really do care about the people. You are really looking at your maps, just like if it was a 1/2 mile setback, I'm looking at 6 or more around my acreage just because I live at a corner section, just because I'm a small farmer, and that's huge. You know, somebody with just one turbine around them is huge for them. But you really are taking all the information, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anybody else wishes to speak? Last chance. All right, I will close public comment. And we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
We can get to go and listen to Trump and.
I was a little shorter,
I was kind of hoping I'd miss
Yeah.
that. I don't know if I can sit through it.
All right, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, Dan, if you could send an email detailing the stuff that you're saying is missing
Oh, well,
on there. I think I know
learn
what you're
how,
talking about.
why each one of them won
But I just
afterwards anyway.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
I do,
Good
yeah.
night.
Oh, well. Yeah, my husband was licensed in 15 or so states because he was in charge of engineering. So he was the engineer in charge. So Integral Energy was his company when we moved up here, but when we lived in Kansas, it was ICM Incorporated. So. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Smaller firms. You asked me one time what I would do for your senior director here, and I might have done some peers.
Yeah.
There would be some people stationed.
We still keep our licenses up to date, even though we're both technically retired from
I
it.
brought mine a few years ago because I can't.
It's expensive to keep it up.
It's hard to go.
Yeah. Get the 30. Yep. Get the 30.
And I figured.
We gotta make sure that we know what the state,
So, but
what the state
yeah, it's
does
been
when
good.
they reject.
Mine's in chemical engineering.
There's so
So,
much
and so is my
politics going
husband.
on
So
with
it's
economic
not
development
a
and stuff.
popular
I can't believe
field here in South
some
Dakota, but it's getting to be.
here.
Oh yeah, you're everywhere. You can, yeah, you can play everywhere. So, yeah, well, good.
Good. How's it going?
I'm Mike.
I'm Mike Swenson.
Mike Swenson?
Yeah.
I should be able to remember that.
Yeah. I'm missing my remote. I'm good at digging stuff up.
That's like my grandson used to say, "Where's the moat?
Yeah.
Where's the moat?"
Yeah, that was good. So when they lose their approval,
There's something going on. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is, but it's weird. It's weird. And the very idea that there's 3 people here, and they didn't know it.
Somebody knew it.
Huh?
Somebody had to know it.
Well, I guess so, but what's going on?
That's why I kind of said, look, you guys fucked up.
Yeah.
Those guys.
You know, I'll tell you what I
And all these people in here, 3-4 hours a night for.
yeah.
Yeah. How long has this been? And you've been working on it as long as I have. We started in January.
You know, even if you take and I was gonna make that comment, take the wind tower. Just say it's a CUP
For anything.
you've screwed up for the last 90 days. Come tonight again.
You know, well, like I told people.
There should be some people gone tomorrow after tonight.
Oh, yeah, I'd be filling out pink slips right now. I'd get a whole new team.
Try to find out though what peer requires of them to do.
Yeah, good question. I'll tell you what peer requires. Nothing. They are about as limp as a bunch of people that I've ever seen. They write laws.
So when it was canceled, you said it was issued on the 1st of August and canceled on the 19th.
Right.
The state canceled it, or they?
I don't know what happened. I just checked it and it said it was canceled. Now, those kind of things that is not an administrative oversight.
If you want to really look for a boogeyman, they could have potentially went and paid somebody $10,000 to send that out.
Who though? Who would have paid them?
$10,000. They could have got paid by the company then. Yeah, well, I understand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a mystery, absolute mystery.
Yeah, who would have paid them, yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. You gotta turn your mic off or we're gonna be